This episode of the Prestige Junkie podcast is sponsored by RuPaul's Drag Race. The New York Times calls RuPaul's Drag Race a sensation. Vulture calls it gripping TV. Newsweek declares it truly epic. And Good Morning America touts it as a standout. RuPaul's Drag Race, for your Emmy consideration in all categories, including Outstanding Reality Competition Program and Outstanding Host for a Reality or Reality Competition Program. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our final bonus weekend edition of the Prestige Junkie podcast for the month, as Emmy voting wraps up on Monday. Today, you'll hear my conversation with Brian Tyree Henry. He's an Oscar and a Tony nominee, and he has proven he can do just about anything on screen. But he tells me he really wasn't ready to deal with the on-screen gunfire and grief again when he first received the script for Dope Thief. As it turns out, the universe had other plans. Brian is the star and executive producer of Dope Thief. It's about a pair of childhood friends in Philadelphia who pose as DEA agents in order to rob local drug dealers. His friend, as it happens, is played in the show by Wagner Moura, who had won the Best Actor prize at Cannes just a few days before I spoke to Brian, and you can really hear his excitement talking about that win. Dope Thief is a crime show, of course, but it's much more about friendship and family and some surprisingly funny and warm moments that can emerge from all of that. It also features another showstopper performance from Brian Tyree Henry, but since he was serving as an executive producer on the show for the first time, he also tells me it gave him a lot of ideas about how he wants to take charge of other projects going forward. You can hear all of that and much more in my conversation with the star of Dope Thief, Brian Tyree Henry. So I'd been, I think, listening to other interviews you'd done or reading them, and you described yourself as feeling kind of burned out, especially when it came to taking on a new TV show before Dope Thief came to you. But I know that you're also someone who likes to work and likes to seek out other things. So how did really recognizing that burnout was a thing that was happening, and how did that happen for you in realizing, what that feeling was and how you're going to deal with it?
You can feel it. From the minute you wake up, you can feel, and because in this business, it's easy to equate being busy with being successful, and that's the way it should go. But I also come from theater, you know what I mean? And in theater, you're doing shows 6 days a week, 8 shows a week, and it's just your body, and you're doing it, and you're doing it, and you're doing it. And so rarely are people coming to you saying, hey, man, take a break. When I made my transition into TV and film, I realized that there was a connecting fiber of trauma, violence, grief, anguish, and that my body was truly in a state of shock, right?
From just playing these parts, it got into you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because I'm gonna commit and I'm gonna give myself the opportunity to play the truth of as much as I can, but also your body doesn't know it's fake. You know what I mean? You're drumming up all these emotions and you're going through all these things, but your body doesn't necessarily know that what you're doing is make-believe. So I realized for me that I really needed to take a step back, especially when it came to television, because television is in a series format, right? So as you are growing as a person, you are also channeling those things into your character, and you're leaving set and going about your life and coming back and living this person's life day after day after day. And so I just was like, I need to chill. I need to chill. Because if I don't advocate for me chilling, I don't think anybody is gonna do it. I need to do it for myself. And what's really funny about how the universe works, because the universe, I say, is very petty when she wants to be. And God, you know what I mean? But she will never give you more than what you need, right? And so I was in the middle of filming this series called Class of '09, which was requiring me to be in the past, present, and future of myself. Which I was just like, great. And I
Actors
knew
challenge. It seemed,
give it to me, serve it on a plate. So let's see what this is. And at this point in the series, I think I just had reached a place of just I don't know if I can do this. I'm tired. And so, I was approached by my wonderful manager and now producing partner about this show called, at the time it was called Sinking Spring.
Oh.
And it was a lead. Right. And I was like, oh, cool. So tell me more about this. But wait, before you tell me more, is it television? And she's like, yeah. I was like, no, thank you. I was like, nope. I can't. Nope. And she's like, no, you should really, really, really. And I know with her, she would never have done that unless she really knew it was something that would resonate with me. That is what our connection and our career has been. She truly holds the vision for me, and will only bring me things that she really thinks will stimulate me. And so side-eyeing her at the same time, I'm like, what is it?
It better be good.
And she's like, just give it a read. And I was like, all right, cool. Is there more than one episode? Because I also didn't want to go into a series that only had like 2 episodes written. I really wanted to see down the line of where I would be going and what I would be taking myself through. And she's like, well, here's script 2. And I read it. And I was like, shit. It's just like, I have to do this. Like, I knew that I had to do it. And
was there a scene? Do you remember if there was a specific thing that jumped out?
It was literally the opening page of us sitting in the back of this van preparing to go and rob this house. And I was like, wait, so they're... It's like, because at first I was like, oh, they're DEA agents. Oh, this is that. But then you keep going and you're like, oh, okay. Like, and I also found Ray to be like, his personality was just so he was funny. He was funny. He was precocious. The relationship between him and Manny was just so charged with love. And like, because at the end of the day, he's trying to talk about how to rob this trap house, but also it's his birthday. And everybody forgot his birthday. And I was like, I can relate to this. This I can relate to. And it was just really exciting. It was really exciting. So, but then also she slid this other thing over. She was like, "Oh, they also want you to executive produce." And I was like,
so they came to you saying they wanted. Oh, interesting.
And I was like, why didn't you lead with that?
Because had you put it out there being like, I would like to take on this role with whatever the next thing I did?
Yeah, because I felt like a lot of the projects that I've been a part of, I was executive producing. I just wasn't credited that way, you know? Like every character that I have been a part of, I have helped build and like I shaped and I played with and I, throw ideas out, but there wasn't really ownership. It wasn't, I was never really given a chance to really have ownership to it. With this one, I was like, well, I can actually say that the success or failure of this is on me because I'm part of it. But I also knew how much I wanted to be a part of the sauce that makes it, like I just, because I end up committing to these men. These men stay with me for a long time after the project is over. I end up really caring about them. And then it's like on to the next. And that's hard for me to do. And so when it came to Ray, I just knew that the requirement of what it took to care for Ray, I knew that being an EP would be the best way to do it because then I could really think about like all the things that made Ray who he is, where he came from, like what is his story, like what are the risks, all those things. And that was exciting to me. That was really exciting. And it was also exciting to know that that was offered, that people trusted what I was doing and trusted the way that I pursue things and make things to go, hey, here you go. Like, here's this opportunity EP. So after that, it was pretty simple to jump into Dope Thief.
Was there something you'd made before we'd seen an actor serve as an EP where you're like, oh, that's what I need to do? Like, had you seen someone else model how you wanted to jump into a project with both of those credits?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, watching Donald do Atlanta was a big thing because also like we would come up with things together, about like how we wanted Alfred to be, or I would show them things about how I wanted Alfred to be treated or how I wanted Alfred to be showcased, and they trusted me with that. You know what I mean? Like. It's so funny. Like I think about a lot of the episodes now and I was like, oh my God, the way that they just let me improv and play and do the things like that trust is what I wanted. That trust is what because it really is about trust. And I really wanted that. But I was like, oh man, to see it say EP, because like what that title then means is like before you even dive into the show, if you see that I'm an EP, you kind of already know what flavor you're going to be getting. Like, to me, it'd be like, oh, okay, well, then we know what we're signing in for. We may not know exactly what the story is, but I want there to be a feeling associated with that. You know what I mean?
You've worked on so many different kinds of things. There's no consistent genre, like time setting or whatever, but it sounds like you do think there's like a thing that you offer that people can notice even if the projects are all totally different.
I would really like to believe that. I would like to when you see that I'm a part of something, there's an experience that you're going to get. There's going to be things that you're going to see and it will, it's an experience. I wanted that feeling when my name showed up as an EP but then it also lets you know how attached and how much I am a part of the process, again, like I come from theater, and theater is all about collaboration. No one person is bigger than the show. So like at the end of the day, like also I'm very nosy when it comes to how things are made. Like I love
Me
knowing
too.
how things, I love it. So like I wanted to know what costume department was going through. I wanted to know what hair and makeup was coming up with. Like there was nothing more fun than going to makeup and looking at what the wounds were going to look like for this show. Like it's
A lot
like,
of them.
cool. That's really great. Like, and to watch her make them, you know, and be like, oh, that's where's that going? Like I get a leg wound that looks like that, you know, like, and that is always where I come from. That stuff stimulates me, excites me. It makes going to work so fun. And I wanted to feel like I'm approachable as well, because it's very easy to see that somebody's the leader of the show and you feel like they need to be in their own space and you don't. And I'm like, no, Dope Thief, I wanted everybody in my business. So I was like, everyone, like, please come and be a part of this, because the only way that I can do this is with you. So
Yeah.
for me, I just really wanted to have my voice be heard. I really wanted people to see that I was really a part of the process of bringing it all together and not just being the lead of a show and standing back and that being it.
Yeah.
And also I just knew that Ray needed that kind of care. Like we're doing this whole show in Philly, right? And Philly is also another character of the show. We're literally in the streets of Philly. There is not one alley, one corner, one overpass that we weren't a part of. And I kind of wanted to be the liaison for that. You know, if we're up in West Philly at 3:00 in the morning and the neighbors are wondering what the hell all these gunshots are, I want to make sure that, like, hey, by the way, thank you. We're here doing this thing. You're a part of it. Thank you so much for. That's just how it makes it easier for me to be able to stay grounded in the work. And it comes from a place of respect, honestly. So it does become a weird love affair when you see a show, because that show then becomes your lover. It becomes, you know, your therapist. It becomes, you know, your lawyer. It becomes like, the show becomes all of that stuff. But when I tell you every single day, I mean, every single day making this show, I looked forward to going to work. I looked forward to playing Ray. I looked forward to being shot at. I looked forward to every single part. And I know that being the EP gave me a profound respect for how things are made and a profound respect for myself about like my contribution to it. It was just like, all right, like, because I wanted people to feel cared for. You know, I know it sounds very kumbaya, crunchy granola, but that's the only way that doing a show where you have this character who is like back against the wall, running for his life, you know, just dealing with addiction, all these different things. It's the only way that I could feel safe, truly, and everyone to feel safe, because we're going through some dark things and we're dealing with some heavy stuff. So I just always wanted what happened in between takes to feel just as grounded and just as loving, you know, than when they say action. I really knew that was the kind of EP I wanted to be. And so I got to try that out, and it was wonderful. Like it was one of the best experiences I've ever had.
This episode is brought to you by RuPaul's Drag Race. The New York Times calls RuPaul's Drag Race a sensation. Vulture calls it gripping TV, and Newsweek declares it truly epic. RuPaul's Drag Race, for your Emmy consideration in all categories, including Outstanding Reality Competition Program and Outstanding Host for a Reality or Reality Competition Program. I mean, I know you don't want to take credit for other actors' performances. There's so much that goes into it, but like, is like your performance in the middle of this, and then so many other ones, the scenes you have with them. I mean, I think the moment I fell in love with the show was when, you know, you have that first scene with Kate Mulgrew and that like dynamic, that mother-son relationship. So I don't know if like you're part of the casting process early on as EP, but just in terms of what, you know, the power that you have to create that space for your fellow actors, not just when you're working with them, but like you said, when the camera goes off, like how do you know, what kind of different balance is that for you as an actor specifically?
I'm an East Coast boy, born and raised, you know, from the South, North Carolina, all the way to DC. I'm an East Coaster, and then I cut my teeth here in New York, and, you know, went to grad school in Connecticut. Like, so I'm an East Coast. So to get this show, it was bringing me back to the East Coast. You know, I don't want to start no fights. Okay, I don't want to start any fights.
Go for it. We'll take it.
I love theater actors. I just do, and most of them are here in New York. And like, there's just another brain that's operating from theater actors, like really good theater actors, those people who know how to do a play. And so when it came to the casting process with A.B. Kaufman, who was a legend, like she's a legend casting director, she really was with me. Like she was like, well, what do you think about this person? What do you think about this? What do you think about? And it's not lost on me that most of these actors are New York theater actors from New York, starting with Kate Mulgrew. Like when she presented Kate Mulgrew to me, I was like, are you serious?
Oh my God.
I was like, well, first of all, I was like, wait, my mom's white? Okay, all right, okay.
We'll figure it out.
I was like, cool, I'm rocking with it. But who is it gonna be? And like Kate, like, I could go on and on and on. Like, I still she only calls me son and I still call her ma. Like that, we've really adopted each other in such a brilliant way. But you're also just watching this woman like take after take, and you're like, and so much fun. And like that relationship between Ray and Teresa is so important because like, we would have these talks. I was like, so, you really loved my dad, to take on his black son and, like he's incarcerated and really hold him down. Like you really like holding him down, like by taking on this son. And she was like, well, there's no other way like that. Like I love it. And like, it just was, and immediately locked in. And then you look at Marin Ireland, Lena, like who has been a theater actress, but also this wonderful actress that I've seen and all the, like I had a list. Right, so I have a list that I started a long time ago. Before I got into this thing of like all the dream actors I want to work with. Like,
you still have it?
I still have it.
Okay.
I still have it. And it's funny because I looked at it a few days ago and realized that most of them I have had the opportunity to work with. And I remember getting Marin and I was like, that you've been on my list for a long time. And she just did not believe me. She was just like, no. And she was with her mom, and because I love her mom. And so like she's with her mom and we're having dinner and I like give the phone to her mom. I was like, can you please read this list? Like, and show her where she falls. And I showed Marin, I was like, you've always been on my list. Wow. So it's truly fortunate for me to have been able to get a lot of the people that I've admired and that I've always like been excited by to join in on this show. And so because we're filming in Philly, I knew that we really wanted to use a lot of, East Coast actors, New York actors, for example. Like even Will, like, so Will and I did Causeway together. Like,
oh yeah,
we did Causeway together. We had this. I've always loved him, and so like to be able to bring him in and watch what he got to do in this show, it was just all so wonderful. So this show is also a love letter, because I even think about when we cast Wagner. I was trying to talk Wagner out of doing the show because like literally we like called him on a Friday and he had to be on set on a Monday. It was that quick.
So you guys didn't like read together or anything? Like you didn't have time to do that?
And as the EP, they were all like, you need to call him. You need to call him and see and get the temperature of like, and I was like, I wouldn't say yes.
Like, so you got to do the persuasion that you wish you'd had probably before.
Oh man, when they said that, I was like, oh shit, okay. And so I remember calling him, and I was a huge fan, and like we immediately in the first 10 minutes of the conversation, just fell in love with each other. And I was like, look, what I'm asking you is crazy, man. Because he was like, English isn't my first language. This feels like da-da-da-da-da. And I'm coming from Brazil. And I was like, look, man, I wouldn't do it. I was like, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't do this shit. But, and then he literally, I'd say we were on the phone for about 20 minutes. And he was like, after talking to you, brother, I know that I'm going to do it. He was like, and I was like, shit, oh, no.
What have I done?
And what have I
I'm responsible
done?
To this guy.
Man who I like hold with such high regard. What have I done? So much so that the very first day that he's on set, because it's like out of a cannon, he's doing his fittings, he's doing his tests, he's doing this, blah, 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 blah. And the very first scene that we're filming is the very first scene you see in the show. So it's us, the band, and
the one that made you want to do the show, like real pressure.
And so we're in this random house or church that they're having for holding, like where they are holding us, and they're calling us to set. And he literally grabs me and pushes me into this room and locks the door. And then he looks at me and he's like, I'm scared. My name is Wagner. He was like, we haven't had a chance to do this. My name is Wagner. I'm scared. I'm a father of 3. I'm married. I'm Brazilian. da-da-da. And so I was like, cool, I'm Brian. I'm Brian Ray. I am your best friend. I will. And I was like, and I promise you, no matter what, I will never leave your side. If you need me, I'm right there. And then we went out and did it. And it's that stuff.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
that stuff that makes it all so fulfilling and so worthwhile because, like, there's trust and there's care and there's love and we knew what was being asked of us. It's crazy. And I was like, oh, and also Ridley Scott's out there. So don't like, I get it. First day's crazy, but we got it. You know what I mean? But that's the flavor of this show. Like that really is the heart of what this show is, by any means necessary. We're there for each other. And we hope it showed. I really hope it showed throughout the season, but that was a big reason why I wanted to be a part of this.
Well, Wagner goes and wins Best Actor at Cannes after this, and you're like, we knew.
Just a little bit. And I sent him a video. It's so funny because, like, we're clearly older men at this point because, like, we're on WhatsApp doing video notes. And it's like...
That's funny. I know a lot of people who are my age who can't handle that, so you're doing pretty well.
What are we doing? I'm sure the youth is looking at us like grandpas sending video notes. And so I happened to be with my co-star Nesta because, like, all of us are still very close. We were just hanging out, and I was like, Wagner won! Wagner won! Everyone, like, every department, like, I'm still close to the hair and makeup department. I'm still close to, and even everyone was texting, being like, did you know Wagner won? I was like, I'm calling him right now! He sent a video note, and he sends a video note back, and, like, we just all celebrate each other and love each other, but he's just truly, like, the best. Like, he really is the best, and he's the only Manny that would have worked. Like, he's the only Manny that would have worked because we needed the audience to truly care about them. We needed the audience to really feel the love between them. We needed the audience to really root for them, even though by all means you shouldn't be, because, like, what the fuck are they doing?
Sure.
Like, why are they so bad at this?
Bad choices,
You know what I mean? But what I loved about these characters and how Peter wrote them, I was like, here's the thing. What's unsaid is that it is a love story because you have these two men, this black and brown boy who are from 15 years old are jettisoned into this system that is telling them that they ain't shit. It's telling them that they will be incarcerated for most of their lives. And those relationships that you form in prison, I have to believe, are so very much protected and there's a lot of things that go on and a lot of things that go on unspoken. And then now you guys are meeting them in this show where here they are, they made it. They're not in this, well, they'll always be in the system, but
sure.
they're free. Right?
Yeah.
But what does that look like? You have one that is still reeling from the choices he made in his life and is always trying to make penance for what he's done and trying to take care of everybody else. And then you've got another one who has found somebody he wants to start his life with, is doing barbecues and shit, wants you to help him build IKEA furniture. And you're like, what?
That's real friendship.
That, that's something. That's something. And then they just make this decision. Right? They make this decision that could cost them both everything, like it could cost them both everything, including each other.
Yeah.
That to me was really exciting. That to me was really, really exciting. Like one of my favorite scenes in the whole series is, we've just robbed his house and he's like, Sherry's having a housewarming. His girlfriend's having a housewarming. I'm just, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Like, what are we doing? But I'm going to go, right? I go. I'm going to put on the cleanest clothes I got and I'm going to house plant. And he's there barbecuing and meat in the kitchen. He's like, please help me put this together. And it's like, what do you mean? Like, what's the address to the house that we're trying to But that, to me, I don't know, like that there's something so exciting about that's so fun to play, that like all the things that are unsaid and all the life that lives underneath all the shit that we don't talk. And that was something that me and Wagner got really good at doing is all the things that are unsaid, how there's even a scene where he's in a church, like he's in a church praying for his life, like praying for his soul. And I'm just like, we have to go. And I'm like, don't, like, we have to go, like, please, like, can you just, but it's just so tender. Like Wagner plays it with such tenderness. He really doesn't want to go to hell. He really believes is going to go to hell, but that's a testimony to Peter. That is a testimony to Peter's writing. Like he is so good at making such wonderfully flawed, fucked up characters that you end up wanting to root for. And that's my juice. Like that's the stuff I love to play. Those are the men that I love to play. The ones that you feel like you shouldn't care about. The one you need to hold your kids and your purse a little closer to you, and actually like no, this guy actually has a heart and has humanity and has compassion and deserves to be cared for. He's vulnerable.
Yeah.
And so Dope Thief really gave me a lot of runway to show those colors of Ray.
Yeah, I think you've talked about how you want to do more like tender, like romance stuff, like stuff that doesn't have like guns and blood and wounds and stuff like that. And Dope Thief has so much of that, but there's so much tenderness in it too. Like I feel like it really does have both.
It really can, man. I mean, like, look, I want to experience what it's like to be loved unconditionally. And I feel like most of the characters that I've played, they come with conditions. Right? Like they come with certain conditions of how you can love them and how you know, I have to work for your love and most things like, you know, but I want to do something where it's an unconditional kind of thing. And even if that love comes from them, from the individual themselves, like, you know, but I want to explore that because that's kind of where I'm at, you know, and I also feel like what you put out is what comes back, right? Like, I feel like I've been gifted enough to be able to channel, right? Like this is a channeling of different, you know, ideas and you know, the spirit of these characters. So I'm like, maybe if I start getting characters that, you know, are trying to find an ice cream shop. You know what I mean? Like maybe if I like find characters who are like, I'm gonna open up this deli.
That sounds great.
You know what I mean? Like maybe. But that's exciting too. But I will say that playing Ray was the most love I ever felt. Like I mean, like I really love him. Like I really walked away loving Ray so much, and I think that the audiences are experiencing that too. My favorite review of this show is like talking to my friends, and my friends are just like, you give us fucking anxiety. Like they're like, it is really, this is too much. They're like,
well, because you care too much. You're like, please let these guys make it out of this.
My favorite is we only made it to episode 4. We can't, we can't go on. Like I'm like, there's 4 more episodes. Like we know, but like God,
yeah, they can't handle episode 6. They're not ready for it.
I'm telling you. So that makes to me stuff like that makes me glow. I'm like, oh, that's great because that means you're feeling for him, like you're really feeling for him. I had this interaction. Took my car to get service, like, and I can see all the dealers behind the counter checking me out, right? Like, so I can tell if someone is recognizing me, but it's what they recognize me for. And so this Latino woman, she was like, "Excuse me, are you the actor from Dope Thief?" And I was like, yes,
absolutely.
Yes, I am. And she was like, you need to pull it together. She was like, this show every week. She was like, I cannot watch this without my husband. This is too much. And it was just really funny because then all of them were like, yeah, like what's going on? So I love that. I love stuff like that because like you're engaged.
Yeah, you want people to yell at you for the right reasons.
But like, I do love Ray. I really do. I find myself being frustrated at his ass all the time. Filming it, I was just like, Peter. It's like, Peter, does he? I was like, a grenade, Peter. It's like, are you sure that you sure you don't want to go and check this wound out? Like, no. Like, all right, man, okay.
Yeah. Well, talking about other things that you want to do, I was going to ask as we get ready to wrap this up, knowing that you got your start on Broadway, I know there was the Golden musical, which I guess we're not going to see. Are you going to make another musical? Do we get a movie musical from you at some point? Other than Vivo, the songs from Vivo still play in my head all the time. I have listened to them many times, but can we get another musical?
If it calls, I will absolutely answer. Like, absolutely. Yeah. Musicals are hard. Hard. They're really hard. You know, I did a musical for 3 years on Broadway, day after day. It was hard. It was gratifying, but hard. But like, no, I mean, sure. Like, I'm fighting with my therapist as we speak about worth, right? Like, just like how to sit in worth. Like, and when people are like, "Are you gonna do an album?" My very first thing is like, "I'm not a singer. I'm not a singer."
But you are.
And she's like that. She's like, shut up. She's like, you don't need to just shut up. Like, just like when your therapist tells you to shut up, you should probably like listen. But she's like, you have to stand in it. Like, and I think that just comes from a lifetime of just shrinking, you know, like imposter syndrome thing that all of us have, and it's so ridiculous. So But I was like, that's just not my lane. Like, there are some people who are out here like training and singing, and but I was like, I ain't gonna lie, I don't do that. Like, do I sing and harmonize in my house by myself? Yes. Do I create music videos in my mind? Of course I do. But like, I will say though, that was the one thing. Like, when I did get a chance to do Golden, I was like, oh, I'm singing an original song.
Yeah.
For real. And then like with Harvey Mason Jr., like, who was in the booth. I was like, I'm in a booth? Like, but it was great because it was still connected to a story. It was still acting. Singing is still acting, you know?
Yeah.
But if it's the right thing, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the right thing.
I hope after Wicked we just get another movie musical boom. I'm always hoping for it.
Across with Cynthia Erivo though, like, don't have me. Oh my God, I wouldn't even know what to do.
Did you guys have scenes together in Widows? I can't remember. I mean, I know that you were, there.
No, we didn't. But she is a good friend. Like, I love her and support her. She's wonderful, and her voice is just dumb. But like, but at the end of the day, you know what? If they do want to have me sing with Cynthia, I'll do it. I'll do it.
All right.
Stop shrinking. Let me stop shrinking.
Yeah, we're gonna hold you to it. You're gonna step up to the Cynthia Erivo level. That does it for today's special Saturday bonus episode. This podcast is edited by Brett Fuchs and produced by Brett Fuchs and me. Our theme music is by Dave Gonzalez. Subscribe to the Prestige Junkie newsletter at theankler.com and subscribe to this podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you back for a regular episode on Tuesday.